Hi, I'm Becca and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these different types of beads using your canes. Now, if you're like me, you love making canes and you've got a big stash of them and you're thinking, what can I do with them? What sort of beads can I make? Well, this is just a few of the different types that you can make. These ones are using bead rollers, and then these ones are just basically purely using the cane on their own. Now, you'll probably think that if you've been doing polymer clay for a while that you know all of these techniques anyway. But say if you're a newbie and you're just starting out and you think, well, what's different ways that I can use them? Then this is just a video showing you a few of those different ways that you can use them. There's lots of other ideas and things like that, but this is just the beginning. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make all these lovely beads. Right, so the first bead that I'm going to show you how to do is the sort of chunky barrel bead. The size is 15mm by 10mm. So that's it when you put it together. Sorry for the loud snap there. I've been figuring out what clay I need to use within this bead roller. This is on the thickest setting of my pasta machine and I'm using my stack of circle cutters. Now I can tell you what I use on this if you have a set of the circle cutters and the bead roller. But if you don't have the circle cutters and you've got your own, but you have the bead roller, then you'll just need to play around a little bit and see what amount of clay you need to put within it to get it to a perfect shape. I've figured out now with my circle cutters I need one of this one and one of this one, and that's the perfect amount of clay to fit this bead. So you just need to take one of each of these. Make sure your clay is well conditioned. When you're doing beads with a bead roller, you need your clay to be really well conditioned so that it'll form to the shape that you want it to. So then just form it into a ball. Try and smooth off as much as you can because you don't want to have any cracks or anything in there. Right, so as you can see, I've got some clay colour on there already because I've just been figuring out how much I needed to use. Now, don't worry about this colour, it will come off if you just use some nice warm soapy water if you've got these. I think it's just because white's notorious for catching any colour anyway, but I think it's probably to do with it being that plant base, filament stuff that we use. So I'm presuming it's that, but it comes off when you give it a good wash anyway. Don't be worrying that you're staining your bead rollers. So, and you can do two of these at once. So let's have a go at doing that. And then once you figure out the amount of clay that you need for one of the beads, just keep a note of it somewhere, and then you'll not have to figure it out again when you're using it in the future. Now these ones I'm decorating after I've rolled them, whereas if you are wanting to cover the entire bead, then you would put less clay in the centre and then add your slices to it. But I'm decorating the bead afterwards, so this is why I've gone for the full amount here. See, this colour actually, it's one of the Galaxy colours and it's 562, it's Galaxy Green. It's even coming off on my hand, so I think it must just be this type of clay. It's got a lot of pigment in it. Right, so put them on there. And then you just want to roll them backwards and forwards. Then once you get it going, they'll start conforming to the shape. So see if you can see it that way. So all I'm doing is rubbing them backwards and forwards, and this will give you the perfect base bead. And you roll it off, and there you go. Ooh. And you've got some lovely chunkle. That's a new word. Chunky barrel beads. Chunkle's a new word. Oh dear. Really need to write down these silly words. Right, so now we've got our base beads. I'm just taking one of my little canes that I've got left over in my basket, and I'm just going to decorate it. So I'm just going to define the petals just with my needle tool. You can decorate it with whatever you want, this is just what I'm using. And you usually can get one or two slices out depending on how far you go down with your needle tool, but I'm just going to make sure I've gone down enough on both of them. Can be time consuming doing this, but it's worth it for the effect. And then just take the bead and then just lay it in the centre. And that's all I'm going to do, and I'm just going to go around the entire centre with the flower cane slices. Now these are quite a chunky bead, so depending on what size bead you want to be, which bead roller you use, I've just gone with this one because that it's an easy size, and 2, I don't really have any beads that are this size, so this is one that I thought would be a good one for me to make. I'm trying to use up all those canes that I showed in my look at my cane stash video, because I've got quite a lot. Oh, petals come off there. That's because it's quite an old cane, this one. Let's try again. I have a little dish at the side of me that I keep all my bad slices or bits that have just been left at the end of a cane or whatever that I can't do anything else with, and then I just roll it up and make it into bead filler. Now I'm not using that scrap clay as bead filler simply because you can still see part of the bead. So yeah, on these ones I can get 4 flowers. So that's a nice chunky bead there. And then I'm not putting it back through this way, but what I'm doing is just so I can get it so that it's back to the size and shape of what the roller was. Plus it helps embed the cane slices in, doing it like this. I'm not putting the top back on because it will distort it, but I'm just trying to make sure that they're embedded into it without distorting the shape. Okay. So now you can see they've gone in a little bit into them, and all I need to do is just skewer it with my needle tool. Yeah. And then just bake it, glaze it, and then I can bead with it. So I'm going to use up the rest of this little cane and see how many I can get, and then I'll come back and we'll do something else. Right, the next type of bead is another barrel bead, which is just using another bead roller. This is the 20mm by 10mm. That's what it says on the end. So that's what it is. It's took me a little bit of figuring out what size I need to use as the filler of this bead, because I'm going to cover some scrap clay with this cane. So once I've played around a little bit and had a few misjudgments of the size cutter, I've landed up with this one, and I've numbered this one number 7. That's what I've decided to do with my stackable cutters that I've got. I've just numbered them just so that I can literally write it down which one it is, and then I know for future. That's the only reason. So if you've got some scrap clay, you want to make sure that it is very, very, very well conditioned. Now I've run this through the pasta machine quite a few times, but it was still quite crumbly going through with it. So what I found is I've just had to knead it a fair bit just with my fingers, just to warm it up a little bit more than just putting it through the pasta machine, because it's pliable, it will go through the pasta machine, but it just didn't seem to want to go any softer without some heat. So maybe that's just, with me being in my studio, that's what it is. So if you keep your clay near, such in a warmer area, then it might not go as crumbly what mine has. But it's been in its plastic for months, this. So it could be that the plastic's dried it out a bit more than, what the other ones have. Because I think it was well before Christmas the last time I made some beads anyway with the scrap clay. So anyway, once I've given it a good knead, I'm just get it into a rough ball. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be covering it with this cane, So when I'm doing this, I just want to take really, really thin slices. It doesn't matter if they're not full slices or if they're, you know, just little bits of it. All we're doing is wanting to cover up the scrap clay. So rather than us having to use our lovely coloured clay to decorate, we can use our scrap clay. So now, depending on how thick your slices are, depends on how big of a cutter you want to use for your filler. So it can take a bit of playing around, like I said. It's just a guessing game, really. I can tell you what size my cutter was, but if you're using a different type of cutter, then it'll just take you, you know, for you to figure out. Plus, your pasta machine might have a thicker setting than mine. Mine's the thickest setting at the moment, so but yeah, not everybody's got the same pasta machine, have they? So just putting it on. So like all these little broken pieces, just pop them on. Like these little tiny off-cut bits, I'll save those towards the end of wrapping the bead. So that's essentially what we're doing. So while I do that, I'll explain. I've got a nice cut on my thumb. I got some new clay blades the other day, and I've opened them up today, so we're getting ready to start filming. And they were incredibly sharp. They're a lot sharper than I expected them to be. Because the tissue blades that I got when I first started, which are these ones, and I've got a short one as well, I got off AliExpress, and they were dirt cheap. And then the other day when I was at the recycle yard place that I've talked about a fair bit, they had a set of brand new ones, and it had got a ripple one in. This one. So I'm going to have fun playing with that anyway. Put it back in there. These are the ones that are incredibly sharp. And the sharp side's inside the handle bit because I went and decided to slice my thumb open. I think I just presumed them not to be as, you know, be that sort of sharpness, but oh well. So if you're just wondering what's happened to the enamel, that's all that it is. I did have a plaster on, but it was hindering my clay rolling and things like that, so it had to come off. Right, so as you can see here, I've just got a tiny little bit of a gap and one here, and this is what I save these tiny little bits for, just to cover it up. Okay, so I'm just roughly making them sort of adhere to each other really, and then if you just want to just sort of roll it into a little bit of a log, just so that it's sort of in the roundabout shape it's going to be in the bead roller. And then get this off. There we go. So we've got it inside again. So you can see from that end that's in there. And we just go backwards and forwards. Now, if your clay is too big for the inside of it, you might get some little stringy bits coming off the sides when you take it off, but they're easy nipped off. If it's way too big, then you'll not be able to do this. It'll not move slowly. So like, yeah, for this one here, you've just got a tiny little bit there. All you need to do with that is just nick it off with your knife. Nip it off, nick it off. Whatever you want to call it. There, and you've got a perfect bead. So now I'm going to take one of my other little tiddly ones out of the basket that I showed you, and I'm going to decorate it how I've done here. Okay? So on either end I want 4 leaves. Now you can use a petal cane or a leaf cane, it's up to you, or you could use something totally different. I've got a spiral cane that I've squished into the shape of a leaf. You could use those. It's up to you. You're making these beads, you know, so it's up to you how you decorate them. So you'll need 4 altogether. Oh, that one's not full. Now this is a case where you want your full slice. So I have my little scrap bit over here because you want your full leaf. One more. There we go. And then see. And then we're just going to pop one like that, and we're going to be leaving a little area in the middle where we're going to be skewering the beads. And that's it. And go in between those. And then just do the same on the other end. Now it's up to you whether if you want to make it parallel from the other leaf or whether if you want to go in between. I've decided to just go parallel in between. So then I've got a nice gap in between where I can see the flower cane that I've put in. Like I said, that's up to you. You do whatever you want. It's your clay, your beads, you do what you want. I'm just showing you what I'm doing with it. There we go. And then just gently press them down, just make sure that they're stuck. And then again, just take your needle tool, or skewer if you've got one of the fancy skewers. I don't. Just try it, and then you can sort of just feel where it's going to come out. Just don't stab yourself or cut yourself like what I do. There we go. And there we've got a lovely bead. So I'm just going to make some more of these and see how many I get out of this bit of cane. I mean, I might have to end up changing the leaf cane because there's not much of that one left, but we'll see how far I go with it. So I'll not bore you with that. I'll go off and I'll go make some more, and then I'll come back with another one. So when we got to the editing stage of the video, I realised the section that I showed you all of these beads was blurred. You could sort of see generally what I was doing, but it just weren't good enough to put into a video. So I've got some more canes out and I'm going to show you what I did. So I'll start with the square one at the moment. Put these over here. So we've got, yeah, they're basically the same bead, just different ways of doing them. So I've just got a little bit of this cane left over here. It's not reduced as much as what this one is, but I'm keeping this for decorating pieces. But I'm just going to quickly show you what I did with the other ones. So I used my, sorry for the noise, my market tools. Now these are on sale in my Etsy shop, which I'll put a link in the description box for you if you want to go and have a look at those. And these just basically mark your canes so you get a consistency in thickness of bead. So the first one that I did was basically this sort of one. This is a really, really thin one, and this is sort of a bit like how you turn something into a sequin, sort of, and like this one's got a hole in the corner, and you could have them in the middle or different places. But I just basically use my market tool, like lining it up. Now this is the 2.5mm measurement one, and there's 5mm, 7.5, and 10mm. So there's different thicknesses for what you want to do. So I'm just going to take one off of here. See, so depending on what pattern you've got on your cane, you can decide on whereabouts you want to put your hole. Now, because these ones I've got this sort of arrow point going downwards, I wanted to keep this as the top of the bead. So I was putting my hole in that way. So I can bead with it in different ways. Now, if I wanted to make it a bead to actually sew through, I would cut them a little bit thicker. So I'm going to take two sections. So it's the 5mm. So when you're doing these ones, you could either skewer them from top to bottom like this. Could go from there and go side to side. But if you go straight in the middle, it's going to spin. So think about what you might actually be using the beads for. Now, if you don't know what you're going to use your beads for, just bake them like this, and then you can always drill them afterwards. So that's just another option. So like some of mine, I've drilled either way. I've got a few that haven't got the holes on them. I can't trust me not to be able to find the ones that's got the holes in. But yeah, that's basically all that you do. So we'll go from the top of it this time. So let's make sure I'm in camera now. And then I'm just going from one corner across to the other one. Now when I'm doing this, I like to have my fingers at either side of the cane slice, just so that I can feel whether if the pin's going to be coming out of the sides, and if it is, then I know I can adjust it. So that's quite down the middle. I've got it out, and then I can just bake that like that. Or if I want any other ones, I can just do the same thing, just going from side to side. So that's how you make these ones anyway. So that one's pretty much straightforward. Now the next one I'm going to show you is these ones. Now these are they're skewered exactly the same way, but it's making little leaves out of a bullseye cane. Oops, now I'm going to throw them all over. I'll pick them up in a minute. So you basically want to mark your clay the exact same way as what we did on the other ones. So again, for the thinner ones, the 2.5, and then, well, if you want them the same thing, this is what I'm doing. And then for the other ones, go a little bit thicker. So you can see you've got marks going along there that will just show you where you need to cut, so you've got that consistent thickness. So I'll cut one just to do the thinner one, next one so we can do the thicker one. And then all you need to do with this, so you're going to need your needle tool again. I'm just going to pinch one side, so you've got it into a bit of a leaf shape, and then we'll just press our needle down that way from top to bottom, and then we're going to just do some side veins by doing the same thing, and that's all you need to do. Now for this one, you can only really skewer them at either end because they're not thick enough for you to be able to go through, so I just like to put that there. So these ones will be really good for fringe, so I like making these ones because they're really quick and easy. And then it's the same thing for the thicker one. Round it back off again, and then we're doing it this way. Now because it's thicker, you should be able to put lines on either side of the bead in case they flip. You could try it with the other one, but with it being thinner, they might not be in all that well. Oh no, put the vein in the wrong way then, never mind. The only drawback of doing them double-sided is when you're pressing one down on the other one, you might lose your indentations, like I've done there a little bit. And then with this one, again, I'm going to skewer from the point, and try and follow that centre line going all the way down. It's coming through. Now, if like me you're a bit heavy-handed and your lines are getting smushed up, so just take another needle tool. If you leave what you've skewered it with, you could put the indents on that way. You're not going to get squished, and you get in your lines, and then you just flip it over into the other one. So whichever you're most comfortable with. I generally just do one side simply because I am a bit heavy-handed with it, and I can never get the lines on both sides to look exactly the same, and it bothers me. So that's why I do it. But that's another way if you're a bit like me and you want to make sure that you get those veins in. Just slowly get it off with distorting it. So you've got your thicker bead and then your thin one. I mean, you could always skewer going from side to side, like I told you with the other one as well. So that's another option. Let's put these over here. Right, and then you could also do that with just a regular petal cane. So this is just basically the same shape, but it's already pinched out for you. So again, you just mark them out And if you can see with the silver there, but it's got the indentations in it, so you'll be able to see it. Might not be coming up on the camera. So, and then you've got the bead already formed, and you don't really need to put any of the vein indentations into it unless you want to. So that's just another option. So just have a look at the different types of canes that you've got and just think which you can use in a different capacity. Right, so the next one, we'll go with the flower bead. Now, these are the ones that I did with it originally, beforehand, and these are just the little flower beads that I did. So I'm going to do them a little bit larger just to make sure that you can actually see what I'm doing. So instead of going with that one all the time. So let's just make sure I've got the right one. 5mm one. Also roll it just a little bit just to make sure you get the lines going further across. So got that one here. Now, as you can see, there's clear marks as to where the leaves would be, or the petals, should I say. So, and you just want to push them in with your needle tool. And this just gives it that flower shape, rather than it just being a flat disc. And then on both sides. It's just started to rain. I don't know whether if you can hear it. I've got a nice pitter patter of rain on the top of my studio. I do love listening to the rain. So we've got the flower. You could always push in from the sides as well. It's not as defined as you want it to be. And then when you're skewering it, if you skewer it from front to back like this, you would create a marguerite bead. And if you skewer it just going through, then you've got it as a regular bead. But if you're going to do a marguerite bead, either use your knuckle or a ball tool, something like this. Just push down into it. And then just skewer it front to back. Yeah, so that's your marguerite one. I'll go in between two of the petals. Just wiggle our needle tool through. And I'm wanting to come out of the centre of this petal here. So, because this is just a cane that I've woke up a little bit, it's a little bit brittle, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so then you've got your regular bead. So that's two types of beads from one cane. And then the third type I'm going to show you is just this ball sort of bead, but we're going to cover some scrap clay with it. So I've just got a little bit of scrap clay here. Now, if you want your beads to be a consistent size, then you just want to use a cutter to cut the scrap clay out for all of them. Now, depending on what you want, it doesn't matter what shape the cutter is, it's just so that you get a consistency of size and amount of clay in your bead. So, take one out. This is one of the good uses of scrap clay because you're not having to use up all your nice fancy coloured clay, and you get a different type of bead just by using this scrap clay. So this is worst case scenario with anything, it just turns into bead filler. So because this is a lot bigger than what I was doing the other one, I've got this other cane, and this is sort of just I think this was part of a rainbow stripe video that I did vaguely anyway. It was square anyway, but I've just rounded it off into a circle. So this is more the size that I want to have the slices to make my beads. So you want nice thin slices. And it doesn't matter if you get half slices or whether if you get full ones. All we're doing is just covering the clay. And it'll not make a difference once you've got it on. So just take your scrap piece of clay. Now, if you wanted, you could make sure that you've got all full slices. but it doesn't bother me. I like them because, like, you're not going to see every side of the bead when it's been worn, so I don't think anybody's going to notice if it's slightly off. And then these little bits that are at either end, this is what these partial slices are perfect for. Let's do one. There we go. And then just roll it around on your work surface. If you do it in your hand, it's got a tendency to twist the design of the cane. That's a good look if that's what you're going for, but if you're not wanting to twist it too much, if you just do it this way. And then you just want to make sure that you've got them all smoothed out, and just look all over them, just make sure that there's no cracks or crevices or anywhere that might make your bead crack when you're baking it or using it. There we go. And then we've got our little ball bead there. And again, you just want to skewer it with your needle tool. And then you've got it skewered. So that's another type of bead that you can do with your canes. And the last one, this is basically just the same as what this one was. I think I forgot that I got this one out. So this is just another old one, but we can show you again anyway in case I've mumbled my words or anything. Right, so which one's this? That's 5 now. So no, I don't think I've done this one yet. Press it down. And then cut. So if you want your corners rounded, you can just press them in. This is just a petal cane. And again, you can do these as the thin slices like we did with the square ones. And then I'm just going to skewer it from top to bottom again. So that's that one here. So these are pretty much the same as these ones, but I've got it more shaped as a triangle there. But you just round off your corners and you've got a leaf straight away. And I think that's all that I needed to redo to show you. So back to me and the ending of the first recording of it. Okay, so all the beads are baked now, and these are just the few that I've showed you how to make. But I've got lots of canes left that I still need to use up, make use of. So I'll have to think of some more ideas. So if you'd like any more videos on this sort of stuff, on different ways to use your canes, let me know in the description, box in the comments section, and I'll be happy to try and put another one together for you. It probably just seems rather simple for somebody who's been doing polymer clay for a while or been doing beading for a while. But I remember first starting out when I was doing polymer clay, I'd make all these beautiful canes, and I think, well, I don't want them all in that sort of just one way. What different things that can I do? So it just came from watching other YouTube videos and playing around and finding different ways. And so these are the two that we made with the bead rollers. And these are all the ones that we made from just the canes that I pulled out of my box. Now, if you've seen the video of my cane stash, you'll know that I've got a lot of canes. And I've also got a lot of the little bits of canes left. So as you can see, I used hardly any on this. So I'm going to have a lot of beads to be making, or other projects as well. There's lots of things that you can make with them without actually having to make beads. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that and it's inspired you to have a go at making some of these beads. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. And if you'd like to see another video like this showing you different ways of using your canes, then let me know that as well. I'll be happy to try and put another one together. So if you like the video, if you can give me a thumbs up, that'd be appreciated. And if you've not subscribed, consider subscribing, that'd be appreciated too. And if you do subscribe, click that notifications bell and then you'll never miss a video when I upload a new one. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.